Hello friends, this is my first lecture and this lecture is about congenital cataract. First we would see about what is cataract and what is its classification, and then we will see about congenital cataract. First, cataract. Cataract is derived from the Greek word cataracts, which means waterfall. So the Greek word of cataract is meaning waterfall. So what's the definition of cataract? The definition of cataract here, development of any opacity in lens and its capsule. It is called as cataract. Now first we will see what are the layers of the lens. In lens we have anterior capsule in the front and it is lined by anterior epithelium. Then in the posterior we have the posterior capsule, and the layer which is present beneath to this capsule is the cortex. The whole area is the cortex, and the center one is the nucleus. In nucleus we have many layers. Based on the age and the development of the nucleus layer, we are naming that into 4 types. What are the 4 types we can see here? Adult one, then infantile, then fetal, then embryonic. First embryonic develops at the time of birth, then fetus, then infantile, and then adult. All these nuclear fibers grows till the death of an individual. So now we would see about the classification of the cataract. A classification, it is based on etiological and morphological, but here we are seeing only the etiological classification. Etiological classification, cataract is classified into congenital and developmental cataract and then acquired cataract. Congenital cataract and developmental cataract. This is because it is named as the lens fibers are generally transparent in nature. But here in congenital and developmental cataract, the lens fibers which are formed are even opaque at the time of their formation even. And in acquired cataract, the lens fibers at the time of formation, they are transparently formed. And due to the degenerative process which leads to the opacification of the normally formed transparent lens fibers. So this is the etiological classification of cataract, which is classified into congenital and developmental cataract and acquired cataract. Now we would see about the congenital cataract. Congenital cataract and developmental cataract are classified accordingly because congenital cataract occurs before birth and developmental cataract occurs during the period of infancy or adolescence. That is the main difference between congenital cataract and developmental cataract. In congenital cataract, the opacity is mainly limited to the embryonic and fetal nucleus because before the time of birth and during the period of that birth to first year, mostly the embryonic and fetal nucleus develops. So the opacity occurs in this nucleus in the congenital cataract. In case of developmental cataract, the opacity occurs in infantile and adult nucleus variety. So in both of these, the formed fibers are even opaque at the time of their formation. This makes them different from acquired cataract. Here in developmental cataract, fibers laid down previously and subsequently are normal and clear. This sentence you have to clearly understand that in developmental cataract, infantile and adult nucleus are opaque. So the embryonic and fetal nucleus in the developmental cataract may be normal and the later forming adult nucleus may also be normal. Only the time of the degeneration where the infantile and adult nucleus is affected becomes opaque. In case of congenital cataract, at the time of birth, which fibers are formed are opaque. Later formed fibers like infantile and adult nuclear fibers are normal in congenital cataract. So now we would see what are the etiology for this congenital and developmental cataract. Etiology, it is classified into 4 main categories: idiopathic, hereditary, maternal, and fetal or infantile factors. First we would see one by one. First, idiopathic. Idiopathic, it is about 33% of cases and sporadic in nature. Sporadic means there is no hereditary cause for this. And the second one, it is hereditary. Hereditary, it can be classified as without systemic disorders and with systemic disorders. Without systemic disorders, it is mainly autosomal dominant. With systemic disorders, it can be of any of the 4 varieties or with common familial cataracts. The 4 systemic disorders associated with the hereditary cases of etiology includes chromosomal disorders, that is trisomy 21. In skeletal disorders, it includes the Stickler's syndrome. Stickler syndrome mainly includes features of cataract. In ear, it causes hearing loss. In facial, it causes flattening of face and other problems, including related to these. This is Stickler syndrome. Then CNS disorder. CNS disorder here, cerebro-oculofacial syndrome can be associated with cataract. Then renal systemic disorders. This renal systemic disorder here, Lowe syndrome is shown. We can see what is the features of Lowe syndrome in the upcoming pages. Then common familial categories. Common familial cataracts, these four will be discussed later in the types of this congenital cataract. Then we would see about the maternal etiology. Maternal etiology includes malnutrition, infections, drug ingestion and radiation. Malnutrition mainly causes non-familial zonular cataract. Infections, which mainly includes the torch infections, here rubella, toxoplasmosis and cytomegalovirus are taken into consideration. Then drugs, which mainly includes thalidomide and corticosteroids. Radiation, most of the cases with exposure to radiation causes congenital cataract. Then the last etiology, which includes fetal or infantile factors. Fetal or infantile factors, it mainly includes the deficient oxygen supply to the placenta, which causes placental hemorrhage. Then birth defects. Then metabolic disorders which are associated with cataract, which includes galactosemia, galactokinase deficiency, and neonatal hypoglycemia. Malnutrition of the fetus also associated with cataract. Then cataract with congenital anomalies. Congenital anomalies here, Lowe syndrome includes oculorenal cerebral. All these three are affected in this Lowe syndrome. Then myotonia dystrophica. Myotonia dystrophica, here the muscles are mainly affected. Weakness of the muscles is seen. And the cataract occurs mainly due to the increased level of gamma glutamyl transpeptidase in these patients, which is responsible for the low levels of lenticular glutathione, which causes cataract. Now, the other congenital ichthyosis. This is rarely related with cataract. It is a dry scaly skin syndrome, dry scaly skin syndrome where cataract is rarely associated with this. Then ocular diseases. Ocular diseases which are associated with cataract include persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous, lenticonus posterior, microphthalmus, aniridia, retinopathy of prematurity, anterior chamber cleavage syndrome. First, persistent hypoplastic primary vitreous. Normally, in embryological, first primary vitreous is formed, which is then replaced by the secondary vitreous. In case, if the primary vitreous persists, it leads to a syndrome called as persistent hypoplastic primary vitreous. Then lenticonus posterior, the posterior surface of the lens comes into a shape of a cone, which is called as lenticonus posterior. Microphthalmus, which is a small eyeball. Then aniridia, absence of iris. Then retinopathy of prematurity and anterior chamber cleavage syndrome are rarely associated with cataract. This is the etiology of congenital cataract. It includes idiopathic, hereditary, maternal, and fetal infantile factors. Now we would come into the clinical types of congenital cataract and developmental cataract. First, in these layers of the lens, we saw anterior epithelium and anterior capsule, then posterior capsule, then cortex, and in the center it is nucleus. All these areas can be opacified at the time of birth or during their development of stage. Now, based on the development of opacities in different layers, congenital cataract can be classified into congenital capsular cataract, polar cataract, congenital nuclear cataract, and generalized cataract. First, we would generally see what it is. Congenital capsular cataract means cataract which occurs either in the anterior or posterior capsule. And then, second one, we saw polar cataract. Polar is the region of the center of the anterior capsule and posterior capsule. So, anterior polar cataract and posterior polar cataract can occur. Then, the third one, which is congenital nuclear cataract. Here, the nucleus, which is the center portion of the lens, is affected. So, the center portion gets opacified, which leads to the formation of congenital nuclear cataract. And generalized cataract, there are four types. You would see in the next page. First, congenital capsular cataract. Congenital capsular cataract, as I mentioned, it is classified into anterior capsular and posterior capsular cataract. Anterior capsular cataract, which occurs in the anterior capsule of the lens, this region, anterior capsule, anywhere it can occur. The anterior capsular cataract, mostly it is stationary and visual insignificant. As there is no loss of vision or visual disturbances, there is no problem with this anterior capsular cataract. Then posterior capsular cataract. Posterior capsular cataract is mostly associated with the posterior hyaloid artery remnants. A posterior hyaloid artery you would see in the next page. A posterior hyaloid artery is an artery which supplies the posterior surface of the retina, posterior surface of the lens during the embryology, and it gets regressed during birth. If it does not regress and any remnants of this artery persist, it can lead to posterior capsular cataract. Then second one, it is polar cataract. As I mentioned, polar is nothing but the center portion or the center point of the anterior capsule and the posterior capsule is called as polar. Then if any opacity occurs in the anterior polar region, it is called as anterior polar cataract. If any opacity occurs in the posterior polar region, it is called as posterior polar cataract. Then anterior polar cataract. Anterior polar cataract, it is the center pole of the anterior capsule. This is the center pole of the anterior capsule. Any opacity which occurs in this region leads to anterior polar cataract. The main causes of this anterior polar cataract includes delayed development of the anterior chamber and corneal perforation. Delayed development of the anterior chamber means the anterior chamber where it is present between the cornea and the iris. This is the anterior chamber region, and this anterior chamber development is delayed. This leads to attachment of the cornea with the iris, so that anterior chamber development may be delayed in certain conditions. That in those conditions, it is usually bilateral vision loss, and the opacification is stationary and it does not progress, and the visual loss is not that much significant. That is, vision is maximum perfect in them. Then corneal perforation. Corneal perforation occurs most commonly in infections like ophthalmia neonatorum. It can be bacterial or viral infection which causes this ophthalmia neonatorum, which causes the perforation of the cornea. Here, the lens capsule comes in contact with the back of the cornea. This leads to the formation of the cataract, mainly in the anterior polar region of the lens. Now, morphological types of anterior polar cataract. Thickened white plaque, anterior pyramidal cataract, and then reduplicated cataract. One by one we will see with the images. First, this one, this is the anterior polar cataract, that is white plaque. You can see at the center there is a plaque like region which is the anterior polar cataract with white plaque. Now the second one, morphological type, which is a pyramidal cataract. Pyramidal cataract, which is in the shape of a cone, and the apex of the cone is pointing towards the cornea of the eye. This is the cornea and the apex of the cone is pointing towards the cornea. This is anterior pyramidal cataract type. In the third one, which is reduplicated cataract, first the cataract forms in the anterior capsular region. Then the anterior capsule, which is in the anterior polar region, it develops, and then the capsule extends into the lens fibers, which is just behind that anterior polar region. In further development, the normal lens fibers separates the opacity in anterior polar region and the lens which was opacified just behind the anterior polar region. So a gap is present between these two. This gap makes the two opacities separate, and the opacity which is present inside the lens, it is called as imprint, or it is called as buried opacity. So both of these cataract together is called as reduplicated cataract or double cataract. Now anterior polar cataract comes to an end. Then we would see about the posterior polar cataract. This is an image showing the posterior polar cataract. Here you can see that the opacity occurs in the posterior polar region, that is at the center of the posterior capsule. Posterior polar cataract, which is nothing but a single circular circumscribed opacity involving the posterior pole. It is just a circular region which is present in the posterior pole. You can easily circumscribe, that is, you can easily mark the boundaries of that opacification. It is mostly associated with persistent hyaloid artery remnants. Already I mentioned that the hyaloid artery, which is the embryological blood supply for the posterior capsule of the lens. So, if it persists, it can be seen as Mittendorf dot. This is the hyaloid artery remnants. This hyaloid artery usually regresses after birth if it persists, and any remnant of this hyaloid artery is seen as Mittendorf's dot. Here you are seeing this Mittendorf's dot, which is a remnant of the hyaloid artery. Now, it is also associated with posterior lenticonus. Posterior lenticonus, as I said, the posterior part of the lens which becomes conical shape. Here you can clearly see that the posterior portion of the lens which is cone shaped. So it is called as lenticonus. And the third one, which is persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous. As I earlier said, normally first a primary vitreous is formed which is replaced by secondary vitreous. If the primary vitreous persists, it can lead to this primary vitreous disease. Here first the primary vitreous is present here and it is replaced by the secondary vitreous, and a small remnant of primary vitreous is present up till birth, and during birth even this remnant regresses. If it does not regress, it leads to a disease called as persistent hyperplastic primary vitreous. Now the types of posterior polar cataract, it is stationary form and progressive form. Stationary form does not increase in size, and progressive form, it shows the shape of an onion peel appearance. Here you can see it is like onion peel. Onion peel shape is clearly visible here. This is the type of posterior polar cataract.